Your supermarket isn't being honest with you. Those comforting British farm names you see on eggs, chicken, beef, vegetables, and fruit, the ones surrounded by drawings of rolling green fields and sunlit barns, don't come from real farms at all. They come from branding departments whose job is to make you believe you're supporting local producers while you're actually buying cheap imports. It is a system that funnels more than £600 million a year away from real British farmers and into supermarket profits, all under the illusion of countryside charm. The most shocking example of this practice revolves around one man, Richard Boer. For decades, he raised free-range pigs on his real woodside farm in Nottinghamshire. His family built their reputation slowly, honestly, and proudly. Then, Tesco decided they wanted his farm's name to make their budget pork seem more authentic. They didn't want Richard's pork. They just wanted the image his name created. Overnight, Tesco's own Woodside Farms pork appeared in stores, decorated with pastoral artwork, while the meat inside came from Denmark, the Netherlands, and industrial UK farms that looked nothing like Richard's operation. Shoppers began asking if Richard supplied Tesco. He didn't. His reputation was hijacked by a giant he couldn't afford to fight. He tried to push back. Lawyers were involved. Letters were exchanged. Tesco brushed him off. Their CEO essentially said that customers were smart enough to know one farm couldn't feed a supermarket chain. Richard could not take on a corporation with pockets deep enough to drag the case out for years. So he did the heartbreaking thing. He changed the name of his own farm's business to avoid being mistaken for Tesco's fiction. Tesco kept the fake brand and is still selling under it today. The exact same thing happened to Roger Sharpley, the man behind the real Boswell farm. Tesco used his farm's name too, without his permission, because they knew he didn't have the financial firepower to challenge them. He called it an abuse of power. And he was right. But again, nothing changed because the system isn't built to protect farmers. It's built to protect the companies that sell to millions of customers every week. Tesco didn't stop at one or two fantasy farms. They built an entire stable of fabricated brands: Woodside Farms, Willow Farms, Boswell Farms, Nightingale Farms, Redmere Farms, Rosedene Farms, Suntrail Farms, and Bay Fishmongers. None of them are real places. They are inventions designed to make mass-produced imported goods look local and trustworthy. These fictional names appear in more than 2/3 of Tesco shopping baskets. That is not marketing, it is psychological design. A food charity even gave Tesco a mock award for their devotion to fake farms. Tesco shrugged it off because the deception works and it continues to work. Aldi and Lidl do the same. Aldi's Ashfield farm, complete with the Union Jack, covers meat sourced far beyond the UK. Lidl's story goes further into absurdity. They pushed a product under the imaginary Strathvale farm brand, claiming it was reared with care by Scottish farmers. After being challenged, they quietly removed pages from their website and called them outdated. They hadn't been outdated at all. They had simply been caught. The most dangerous part of this is how the Union Jack has been stripped of meaning. When you see the flag on a food label, you think it means the product is British. But under current rules, a product can legally carry the flag even if it was entirely imported, as long as it was packed or processed in the UK and the real origin appears somewhere in tiny print. This loophole has enabled a tidal wave of foreign imports to be passed off as British-looking goods. During the UK egg crisis, imports from Poland surged by more than 2,000%. Many of those eggs came from caged systems effectively banned in Britain. Several Polish sites supplying the UK were later found contaminated with salmonella. Yet the imports continued because they were cheaper than paying British farmers a fair price. Similar patterns appear in chicken. Thailand exports massive amounts of cooked chicken to Europe, and UK supermarkets buy a portion of it at prices far below British production costs. That chicken is then packaged in British-style branding and sold at British prices. Spain dominates winter salad production for the UK, producing 90% of our winter leaves under sprawling plastic structures. Those tomatoes you see in Nightingale Farms packaging? Spanish. Meanwhile, New Zealand lamb arrives cheap, yet is sold only slightly below British lamb prices, leaving supermarkets to pocket the difference. consumers are not protected from this because regulators have taken no action. A decade ago, the National Farmers Union formally complained about fake farm branding. Since then, not a single supermarket has been fined or penalized. Regulators claim these names are brands rather than geographical statements, which means that even the most obviously British-sounding name is allowed as long as the real origin appears somewhere, no matter how small. Even the certification labels designed to reassure you are failing. The red tractor logo is widely assumed to guarantee high welfare, outdoor access, and responsible farming. In reality, its standards sit barely above legal minimums. Investigators have repeatedly entered red tractor certified farms and found sows confined in crates, chickens living in filth, pigs being killed violently, and birds with raw skin unable to stand. Red tractor farms that pass inspections are later exposed on national television for conditions that would appall most shoppers. Rather than confronting the failures, the scheme often condemns the investigators for how long they took to report the issues. It is a system more concerned with protecting itself than protecting animals. Meanwhile, British farming is on the brink of collapse. The majority of UK farmers fear they may lose their farms within the next year and a half. Fruit and vegetable growers are in crisis. Mixed farms are operating at losses. The payment system that kept many farms afloat is being phased out. British self-sufficiency in food has fallen to levels never seen in modern times. Fresh vegetable self-sufficiency is barely above half. Fruit self-sufficiency is barely above 1/6. Heavy dependence on imports from a handful of countries makes the UK vulnerable to disruptions we cannot control. This is not just a farming crisis, it is a national food security crisis. If British farms fail, supermarkets will replace them with even more imported goods from countries with weaker welfare laws, weaker environmental protections, and longer, riskier supply chains. When that happens, the choice you think you still have will disappear. There is, however, a way out, one supermarkets hope you never take. There are alternatives that are often cheaper, fresher, and far more ethical. Riverford organic farmers offer nationwide deliveries with prices on average almost 20% below supermarket organic. Their produce is Soil Association certified and mostly British. Abel and Cole offer similar boxes with strong introductory discounts. The Farm Retail Association maintains a directory of farm shops across the country where you can buy directly from real producers without the supermarket middleman. And if you continue shopping in supermarkets, the only chains that refuse to use fake farm branding are Co-op, Waitrose, and, with some inconsistencies, Morrisons. The truth is simple. Fake farm brands allow supermarkets to profit from your belief in British farming while offering little support to British farmers themselves. The longer this continues, the closer we move toward a future where genuine British farms disappear entirely.